नमस्कार, मैं हूं प्रशांत और इस वक्त हम हैं स्क्रीन ऑस्ट्रेलिया के ऑफिस में। बहुत सारे कैमराज इक्विपमेंट्स आप मेरे पीछे देख रहे होंगे। बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग है और मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, इसलिए मैंने चुना ये जगह जहां पे मैं बात करूंगा। मेरे साथ इस वक्त हैं लुइस गॉफ, जो कि स्क्रीन ऑस्ट्रेलिया की डायरेक्टर ऑफ नैरेटिव कंटेंट है। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया बात करने के लिए। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर टॉकिंग टू अस। फर्स्ट question is that we are in Australia, and recently there was a treaty which was signed between India and Australia. So, what do you think the importance of that treaty at this moment, and why it took so much time?
That's a great question. So the treaty was signed and is now active from November 2023. As we both know, Australia and India have such a wonderful, rich relationship. That's cultural, sporting, as well as many, many other things. And Australia has a massive India diaspora. It's one of the most important parts of our community. So why not cultural? And we know Indians love film, are crazy about their filmmakers, as are we, and there's a massive audience here in Australia for Indian films. So why not collaborate through an official co-production agreement?
Great. So, if I ask you that, what kind of facilities you are thinking that you will provide to Indian film producers and vice versa?
Of course. So through the official co-production agreement, it's an opportunity creatively and in terms of business, producing, to be able to shoot, produce, co-produce, edit across both countries. And it's finding those stories that connect with both audiences. So Australia, like India, has a massive infrastructure, facilities, beautiful locations, etc. And it's an opportunity for us to tell stories together that resonate with both countries.
Great. So when you talk about relationship between India and Australia, so I was just reading, and I know as a film person that there were many actors from Australia, those who were there in India. Fearless Nadia, we call it, Mary once.
Yes.
And then Bob Christo, we have all seen him in films. So have you seen their films in Indian films, and have you recognized them and you knew them that, oh, these are the actors from Australia and they have made a big name there?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I think in Australia, we are one of the biggest consumers of Indian films. We love Indian stars, and that's not just the Indian community who live here, but much more broadly. And, you offered to give me a dance lesson before this interview. All of us want to do that as well. But no, we recognise the stars, and we love the stories, and we love what Indian cinema has to offer. And we've got great examples like Hindi Vindi is a film that's just about to come out, combining a great Australian star and a great Indian up-and-coming star. We have a recent television series called 4 Years Later that combines beautiful Indian stars with Australian stars. It's gorgeous. We recognise each other.
Okay.
Not just on the cricket pitch.
Okay, but you were saying that you want to learn a dance step, but you tell me that which film you saw or watched last, Indian film, and you liked it?
Oh my gosh. Well, I was just at IFFI.
Oh.
And
You were there?
Yeah.
Okay, I was also there.
Yeah, I was, and you've got me on the spot now. Do I remember the films that I saw? To be honest, I was watching most of the Australian films and watching the Indian audience watch Australian films.
Right. So, one thing which I wanted to ask, that when we talk about films, so either Indian films, if we are talking about Australia and India, Indian films or Hollywood films. Okay, means in India, audience thinks that every English film is either Hollywood. They even don't know that, okay, this is a film from UK or Australia. So what measures or steps you are taking to that so that audience who's there in India or other countries that recognize that this is an Australian film? And I know that the history of Australian film is very big. 1906, I was reading somewhere that in 1906, the first feature film was produced from Australia.
Yes, Australia has a very rich filmmaking tradition, and we have been pioneers, and we have some of the most incredible talents in Australia and working globally. For example, it was an incredible honour to watch Philip Noyce, one of our biggest directors, receive the Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award at IFFI, having the honour for Australia being the focus for IFFI last year. what makes an Australian film and why will audiences recognise it? I think one of the really big things is our First Nations community. We have some of the most incredible filmmakers who are recognised locally and globally. We also, I think, have an accent that's quite different. And, you know, I think we've both had that tradition of being influenced by the British as well, quite significantly, which has impacted our storytelling. The sense of humour, I think, is similar, and our stars are quite recognisable too.
Right. So many stars from Australia, they're working there. Yeah,
True.
yeah. But how helpful or how eager is Indian government when it comes to this treaty, or how happy they are?
Yeah, in terms of the co-production, yeah, very much. We recently had an experience where during IFFI, as Australia being the honoured country of focus, there is also the NFDC runs Film Bazaar, and it's an opportunity for filmmakers around the world and producers to come together to look for opportunities. So we travelled many Australian producers. Our contingent was very significant, and they're all racing to actually be the first official co-production because it's a really important landmark for stories that are organically told between both countries, and we have a global outlook in both countries very, very much. And there's the opportunity in terms of creator to creator, business to business, the fierceness and competition between our different communities to be the first film, to brand the first Australia-India co-production is going to be a really significant moment, not just for the filmmaking communities, not just for the countries, but for our audiences, that we have a work that can exist and be celebrated in both places.
Right. At this juncture, when this festival called NIFA is happening here, and so these kind of festival, how important, or what is the importance of these festivals when at this moment when there's a treaty is at place? So what kind of importance you see to bring closer the audience of both the countries?
It's incredibly important. So there's also the Indian Film Festival in Melbourne, and not only the India diaspora audience who celebrate and engage with Indian films, it's Australia-wide. So we love cinema, we love bold cinema, we love cinema that has big heart, and this is, I think, one of the really defining traits that's traditionally ascribed to Indian cinema. So when we have a festival that travels nationally through this country, that emphasises and focuses Indian storytelling, Indian ways
That
of
to
thinking.
different language stories.
Yes, exactly, because what is
People
it
think
that's-
that only dance and song and dance sequences is all about Indian cinema, but NIFA is bringing something else.
Absolutely, and the language groups that exist very broadly. And Australians are very open to global cinema. And this is an opportunity to bring audiences into the multiplexes, to celebrate together, to have the pleasure and energy of watching Indian films, whether they're intimate and focused or the really big plays. So I think it helps develop audience and develop recognition and relationship, because you look at how many people might go to the MCG for the Boxing Day test. This festival has the opportunity to bring the same numbers nationally into cinema for storytelling. It's an incredible moment.
Okay, last, you were talking about a step. So if I'll ask you that which step you liked and which song, if you remember any song from any film, and what kind of step you want to learn.
Okay, I really like the one that goes out. This one. I don't even know what it's called. But I'm willing to learn.
Okay. ठीक है. So thank you so much. I think now if you want me to teach you, then I can teach you. Otherwise, my colleague will come and interview you again for English.
Whatever suits best.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.